morning. It is a road trip kind of day. I'm on I-40. Everybody is excited this morning. It's early and Lord, everybody's got to go. It's just like this on I-40 no matter what time you're here. I'm the only person going the speed limit. First of all, I want to address safety. Safety. Somebody said yesterday or day before, I don't know, I like your vlogs, but I can't help but think every time I see you driving in a car, I'm about to see you get in a wreck. Well, honey, I'm not looking at you right now. Maybe it's hard to tell because I got sunglasses on. I'm not looking at you. I'm looking at the road. I'm looking behind me. I'm looking in my mirror. My vision is not obstructed. I can see everything and everybody. I talk to myself like this wherever I go. I'm not doing anything that I don't normally do. The only difference is there's something recording it right now. Trust me, I know what is going on around me. I realize. Let me tell you, I'm 48. I have been driving since I was 16. That's over 30 years. For almost 6.5 of those years, I drove 600 miles a week just for work. 50 weeks a year for almost 6.5 years. You do the math on how many miles that is. You know how many wrecks I had? 0. I got 1 speeding ticket, 0 wrecks. That's over 200,000 miles just for work for 6.5 years. I have driven many miles in my 32 years of driving. I've had 1 wreck in all that time, and it was 100% the other guy's fault. There was nothing I could have done to avoid it. He totaled my car. I was just driving down the road, minding my own business. It was a dark, cold, rainy night, almost 10 years ago to the day. Shit, tomorrow, what's today? Wait a minute, it might be 10 years ago today. It was December 10th. No, it's not the 10th. It was December 10th, 2011. And it was a dark, cold, rainy night. And I was driving down Lee Street in Greensboro. And this guy just turned right in front of me to go to this gas station, and he said he didn't see me. I had my headlights on. I don't know how he didn't see me. I didn't even have time to hit the brakes. I T-boned that guy I was going about 40 miles an hour. Banged me up pretty bad. My kids were okay. They were with me. They were both in the back in their car seats. They were fine. It scared us, and it totaled my car. But that's the only wreck I've ever been in. So it's safety's sake. Do not worry, y'all. I'm not looking at you. I'm not paying any attention to you. There's a farmer's market that we go to sometimes. The GPS lady may come in and say something. We're on our way to Wilkesboro, and you don't have to worry about my safety. And trust me, if I do somehow end up in a wreck while I'm making a video, that'll be the first thing I say in the description. Shit, I was in a wreck. You'll know before you ever even click on that video that oh God, she was in a wreck. You're gonna know that right off the bat, because I promise I'm gonna lead with that. Whatever the hell I was talking about won't matter anymore. I'm gonna tell you I was in a wreck. There's a split coming up. I'm expecting the GPS lady to tell me which way I need to go. She's not telling me. I'm going to assume it's this way. I think I'm supposed to just stay on I-40. We're going to Wilkesboro, North Carolina. I don't really know much about it. I looked it up last night. Turns out they have at least one Goodwill store there. I thought about stopping by there while I'm in the area.
Head west on I-40 West.
Thank you, GPS lady. I appreciate it. She waited till I got right to the split to tell me that. I love it. Good thing I wasn't over there in that lane, the far right lane. I would have been in trouble. I pretty much assumed we were going this way. All right. So, what were we going to talk about? Love and relationships. Love and relationships. Love and marriage. Or whatever. actually doing some dusting this morning. I now have a tickle in my throat. It's not the coof. I've already had that and gotten over it. Did you miss it? I had COVID back in March of this year. I did. It wasn't fun, but fortunately, it actually wasn't too bad. I was very concerned about it, before I got it, because I've had lung issues and breathing issues before when I've gotten sick. I always, I've had bronchitis more times than I can count, and I was very afraid that if I got it, that it would be, it would hit me hard. Oh, it wasn't fun. I don't recommend it for your next vacation idea, but yeah, I was sick for about a week. My kids both got it too. We all tested positive. My older son had the sniffles for like a day, and then he was fine. My younger son was completely asymptomatic. He didn't even have a sniffle or a fever or anything, nothing. But we all did our quarantine and everything. And I lost my sense of taste and smell. I lost my sense of smell. It didn't fully come back for about 2 months. My sense of taste came back faster than that. But no, I've had the coof, and it's over, thank God. My dad just recovered from it too. Yeah, he had it back a month or so ago. He was in the hospital for a couple days, but fortunately he's all right now. He's fine. My stepmother had it as well. They're good now. They're good. I was very worried about him. He's had a heart attack and breathing issues, and he was a heavy smoker for many years. But you can't. My dad is tough, man. You can't take him out that easily. My phone's shaking. So if I do have a bit of a tickle in my throat. I drank some water. It didn't really help any. But dust really bothers me. If I get around a bunch of dust that's stirred up, I'll be coughing the rest of the day. It really irritates my lungs and my throat. So I wanted to do a little bit of quick cleaning this morning before I took off. The front of that car looks like it's cracked. Look at it's like some kind of special effects. Let's see if you can see it. Well, you can really see it. It doesn't matter. Oh, the whole car's done like that. How tacky. Come on, minivan mama. You can do it. I let people in. I don't care. I'm in no hurry. I have all day. I told the attorney I work for, I made sure to remind him last night. I said, I was working at 11:30 last night. I had to file something before midnight. I got my Aldi and Ollie's video done, and I went back downstairs and I got back to work. I reminded him, I'm not going to be around tomorrow. I'm not even logging on. I'm not even going to look at my computer tomorrow. Just reminding you, I will not be here. Because this is supposed to be my day off anyway, but I've been working on a lot of my days off lately. Weekends included. Like this, I don't want him to get used to me being around like 7 days a week. Don't get used to that. Only reason I am is because we have been so freaking busy. I'm wearing my stylish dingle-dangle earrings. In a lot of videos out in stores, I don't wear these because when I have a mask on, it mashes them up on my face and it's uncomfortable. I'll probably take these off when I get to that store. But I figured I'd wear them for y'all. So, love. We're going to talk about love now that I have gone off topic like 5 times. So I was getting my hair done yesterday, and my hairdresser and I were talking about love and how jaded we both are. She started dating this guy, and she really likes him, but at the same time, she's paranoid, like he seems too good to be true. And I piped up and I said, and in my experience, if they seem too good to be true, they probably are. And she said, exactly. That's why I can't trust it, I just can't let my guard down with this guy. And I said, you don't have to. There's no rush. And if he's trying to rush you, hurry up and get you to, commit to something serious, that would be a red flag to me. Like, what is your hurry, But we talked about, our marriages. She's been married twice. I've been married 3 times. Oh, I'm not happy about it. But I've learned a lot about myself maybe it will help you, so you can break the cycle that I was in for so long. Okay, my first marriage was to the guy in the cult. I met him at my brother's wedding. My brother was also in the cult, along with my brother's wife. And we just clicked. I don't know. He seemed smart and funny, and, I liked him. So I ended up moving up there to Illinois to be with him. And I had, of course, he was the church was his whole life. He had been involved in the church for 13 years. So I knew if I wanted to be with him, I was going to have to, the church was going to be a big part of my life too. And so I joined the church. It was bad. Long story short, we left once I found out everything. And that was a hell of a shock. After that, we came back down here to North Carolina. I got him to come down here with me. I had to get out of there. Lord, once I learned the truth about everything, I couldn't get out of there fast enough. I said, I gotta go. I cannot be here anymore. You can, come with me. Come on, we gotta get out of here. This place is just evil. I gotta go. So, that marriage, we didn't really know each other before we got married. See, in the church, you're chaperoned, you are very closely monitored. If you want to date, they don't really like it for you to date people that are not in the church. They actively discourage that, or they used to. I don't know what they do anymore. I don't know anything about them anymore. They do still exist, but they're much smaller than they used to be. They've lost most of the diehard members. So I don't know that they pose much of a threat anymore. But so when we got married, we didn't really know each other, and there was a lot about him that I didn't know. If I had known before we got married that he had so much debt that had gone into collections, I wouldn't have married him. I would have said, no, you need to sort out your financial stuff before we get married. And he flat out lied to me about it. He told me he didn't really have any debt, just a little bit on one credit card, no big deal. Oh no, that was completely false. That was not true. Bill collectors started calling me right after we got married. They find out, like, if this person has a spouse or anything, they start harassing the spouse, anybody they can, to get their money. And that's how I found out he had all this debt. He had a lot of debt from multiple sources that had gone into collections that I didn't know about. So anyway, that marriage did not last long. I kicked him out pretty quick because things did not get better. He continued to rack up debt. He tried to sell my car. He took my car to a dealership and tried to sell it. Like, are you stupid? If the title's in my name, you can't just sell my car. And he got mad at me because I wouldn't sell it for him and get him. He said, I want you to get, just sell your car so I can get a better car. I bought him a car. He did not have a car when we got together. He had a license but no car. They didn't encourage the single brothers in the church to drive. We'll get you around wherever you need to go. They wanted the single brothers to be completely dependent on the church, to the point where they were giving over their paychecks to the church, and the church would just give them like a weekly allowance. And they had to live in church housing, and I wasn't even allowed to know where he lived. I didn't know where he lived. I was not allowed to go to his apartment. I didn't even know where his apartment was. They keep people apart. It's very secretive. It's very weird. Anyway, so we didn't know each other very well. He continued to rack up debt. He did some really shady stuff, and like he tried to get credit cards in my name, and he trashed my credit, and oh my God. So nothing got better. He refused to get any help with his spending problems. He started drinking very heavily. I realized I could not help him. If I stayed with him, he was going to drag me down with him.
There's a 5-minute slowdown caused by a crash in 1.5 miles. You are still on the fastest route.
GPS lady, don't interrupt me with a crash unless I'm the one in it. Reckon I'll be dealing with a crash up here somewhere in 1.5 miles, didn't she say? That sounds fun. Yeah, I see brake lights already. creeping traffic. She said, I'm still on the fastest route to Wilkesboro. So that marriage didn't last very long. And then I married, I don't want to go into a lot of personal detail, but my second marriage was not good. And I'm not gonna go into a lot of detail on that. But we had 2 kids. We've been apart now for 13 years. I've been separated and divorced from him now for 13 years. Glenda the Good Witch and I met online in 2011. It was actually about 2 weeks before I had that wreck where I totaled my car. And he used to have his own business. He used to work restoring antique cars. That's what he did. And so when my car was totaled, we had it towed to his shop, and he assessed, he has the insurance adjuster come out and assess the damage, and yeah, it's totaled. It's, too much damage. So, yeah, that was funny. Like, oh, we just met. Nah, my car's totaled. But that was the first time I got to see his shop, because I went down there when they had the car towed down there, and I had to get a rental car for a while. We hit it off right away. We have a lot in common. That's I refer to my exes as witches, not because I'm immature. Somebody said that one time. You really need to grow up and stop referring to them as witches. You're setting a bad example for your subscribers. Blah, 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 blah. No, sweetie, you're confused. You are getting it twisted. No, it's because my exes are kind of like the witches in the Wizard of Oz. They are. My first ex was like the Wicked Witch of the East, which we see very little of her. We don't know a lot about her. We know that she's wicked, but she's not a huge part of the story. That's kind of like my first ex. He was in my life and gone like that. Although it was funny, I got a call from a bill collector not too long ago looking for him. Like, I promise you, he's not here. Well, he owes these people money. I'm like, yeah, I'll bet he does. He actually owes me some money. Yeah, and I don't expect to ever get it. And y'all are not going to get it either, because he's a scumbag, and he's not good with money. He blows more money than he can make. Anyway, good luck to you. So yeah, he's gone very quickly. Wicked Witch of the West would be my second ex. Plays a much larger part in the story. We know that she's more evil and wicked than her sister, Wicked Witch of the East. They're not related to each other. So that's one thing they don't have in common. They're not like siblings, whatever. But yeah, just awful. And then there's Glenda the Good Witch. That's my third ex. He is an ex, but he's the best of the bunch. And he and I, a lot of people have asked me, like, I'm going under an overpass, what is the nature of your relationship with him? And it's like, what is the deal with her and this guy? Because she talks about him all the time. Well, okay. And again, I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of detail about my personal life. I give you the amount of detail I'm comfortable with. Okay, he has 3 boys. I have 2 boys. When we got married, we had 5 boys under the age of 12. All 7 of us living in the same house. Basically, we were a blended family that didn't ever really blend successfully. We were married for 3 years. And it didn't work. There was a lot of conflict with the kids. It just didn't work. Everybody was unhappy, and we made the decision together to part ways. It was amicable. There were no hard feelings. It wasn't like a big ugly divorce. I filed it myself. I actually filed my divorce also from my second husband, because I knew he wouldn't contend it, and it was going to be very straightforward, and I couldn't afford a lawyer anyway, and I saved money on a lawyer from my third divorce as well, because it's a tedious process, but you can do it yourself. And I filed my own divorce, and I went online and looked up how to do it, and it's not because I'm a paralegal. I'm a patent paralegal. Patent paralegals don't know anything about domestic stuff like divorces and whatever. A lot of people just assume that since I'm a paralegal, I can do all legal things. That's like asking a podiatrist to do your open heart surgery. You know, just because they're a doctor doesn't mean they know how to do all medical things. I don't know how to do all legal things. Most paralegals don't. If you went to a litigation paralegal and asked them to file a patent application, they wouldn't have the first clue what to do. Law, just like medicine, is very specialized these days. I don't think it always was, but the law is very specialized. You have different areas of law that people work in. I work with patents, and that's it. I don't do anything else. Because it sucks. People come to me like, you're a paralegal. Can you help me with the closing on my house? Like, no, I cannot. You're a paralegal. How do I sue this company? I don't know. Go talk to somebody that does that kind of stuff. I don't know. I don't do it. So anyway, we stayed in touch with one another. We dated other people, you know, in the time following our divorce. In North Carolina, you have to be separated for a year before you could get a divorce, which I think is ridiculous. I think 6 months should be more than enough time to know if you want to be with this person or not. But in North Carolina, you have to be separated for a year before you can get a divorce. And, you know, we did date other people. And I'm going to tell you, it's sad out there. It's sad. Especially, you know, you try dating in your 40s. Ugh. God. It's pitiful. It is pitiful out there. I'm not saying there are no good people out there, but dang. Yikes. But anyway, so Glenda the Good Witch and I, we stayed in touch. You know, we would talk to one another all the time. You know, how you doing? You know, you doing okay? And what's up with you? You know. And so we decided, what is this, 2021? Now, we split up in 2016. Wasn't long after I started my other channel. And then I had to go live in the apartment. That's why I lived in that apartment for a year, because we had to get some financial stuff sorted out. We had refinanced his house, and my name was on that, so it had to be refinanced again to get my name off that mortgage before I could buy a house for myself. So for that year, while we were getting all that sorted out, I had to live in an apartment. So it sucked having to move twice, but yeah, you know, can't do anything about it. We are just creeping along, aren't we? I can look at you because I'm not really going anywhere. But we just decided, we were just talking one day. I texted him, I remember. I texted him, I said, are you dating anybody? He said, no. Are you? I said, no, I'm not. You want to go out? Yeah. Okay. Let's go out to eat one night. So we've kind of, it's weird because we've been together, but we hardly ever see each other because we are both so busy. Neither one of us has a desire to date anybody else. I'm not looking to date anybody. I'm happy with the way things are. You know, he understands that I'm busy. I understand that he's busy. He's actually busier than I am. He has a very demanding job. It's very high stress. He makes really good money. Oh, there's the wreck. He makes really good money, but I wouldn't want his job. It's way too stressful, too many demands on his time. I would not want his job. But he loves it, and it pays super duper well. Dang, there's all kinds of debris in the road. Try not to run over anything. Shit. Try not to run over anything bad. There's a car flipped upside down. Okay, I'm paying attention. Okay, that's bad. Dang. All right, we're through the stuff. Okay, I hope everybody's all right. I hope I didn't run over anything that's gonna puncture a tire. And see, but he also has that condo up in the mountains that I've talked about. He bought that like a year and a half ago, I think. And he rents it out on Airbnb, and there's another one. Well, Okay, so you have to hire a cleaning service to clean it, after people stay there. The problem is, what he has run into is he cannot find a good company up there to do the cleaning. And a lot of times when they clean it, they're not doing a very good job. So he goes up there a lot and he just cleans it himself. He is very, very detail oriented, very meticulous, and he's really good at what he does. He leaves that place spotless. He goes up there and cleans it after people leave. Just because he doesn't want a bad rating on Airbnb or the other site because the person gets there and it's like, oh, the place was a mess. It was dirty because the cleaning people didn't do a good job. So I think he's basically doing most of the cleaning himself. Like, he'll go up there. He loves it. He said he loves the drive. He loves going up there. So he does that. And also his dad actually passed away earlier this year, very suddenly. So his parents were married over 50 years, and he helps his mom out with a lot of stuff. And his parents have a house in the mountains elsewhere. And he's been spending a lot of his weekends up there clearing out brush and bush hogging and, just cleaning up the property around there. And he sends me pictures of the stuff he's been doing. And so he's gone a lot. But he understands that I'm busy too. I raise 2 kids by myself. I work. I have YouTube. My parents need me sometimes. So we're both kind of in the same boat. Like, we both have a lot going on. So it's actually really great. Most people would not be very understanding, and they would not want to date somebody that just had basically no time for them. Well, we get together when we can. It's not always easy, but we try to work it out. Seems like when one of us is free, the other one is busy, and vice versa. But we try to get together when we can. Anyway, so yeah, we are. I don't know what we are. He went with me to my 10-year reunion recently, and people were like, "So y'all, how long have y'all been married?" And we probably should have just said, just given them a number instead of having to explain, well, we're actually not married anymore. And they look at you like, oh. And you can see it on their face, like, well, then why are you together? What, you're divorced?
In 2 miles, take exit 188 for US 421, I-40 Business Loop East toward Winston, Salem, Yadkinville.
188. Right. I'm sorry she keeps interrupting. That might be quite jarring. I do apologize. So we had to explain to people, yeah, we're not married, but we're dating. So, like, oh, okay. That's weird. Yeah, it is weird, I know. But we always got along. I mean, we're a lot alike. We really are. We have a lot of the same interests. We just have a lot of things in common. So where is that headed in the future? I don't know. We don't know. But at this point, I think we're both pretty happy with the way things are. Could we get married again? Possibly. I would not be averse to that. Maybe one day. I'm not really worried about getting married at this point. I don't think he is either. Like, we're both kind of doing our own thing, I don't really have time for anything else at this point, and I'm fine with that. I think as long as our kids are at home, we wouldn't want to get remarried, because it really, I don't want to try having us all live under the same roof together. That doesn't work. We know that doesn't work. Is that 188? That is 188. I gotta get over there.
In half a mile, take exit 188 for US 421, I-40 Business Loop East toward Winston, Salem, Yadkinville.
Alright, calm down back there. Somebody is excited. Come on. Pass me on. I was gonna move out of your way, but you were too...
Take exit 188, then keep left at the fork.
You could say please every now and then instead of just barking orders at me. She's so rude. The GPS lady is rude.
Keep left at the fork.
What? Oh, there's a fork. Okay. Yeah, because that never...
Continue on US 421 north for 54 miles.
Cool. 54? Jesus. Reminds me of that time we took a road trip up to Hershey, Pennsylvania. My kids and me. I've been talking for 30 minutes and I have not gotten into anything about really love. I've been telling you about my own life. I'm sorry. God Almighty. We were going up to Hershey, Pennsylvania, and I remember we got to this stretch, and she said something like, continue for 512 miles, and we all went, yeah! Holy crap. Everybody get comfortable. We're not turning for a while. We're going that way. Okay. So, what does the future hold for Glenda the Good Witch and me? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I don't know. But I'm happy with my life the way it is right now. I'm not interested in dating anyone. I'm not interested in anything. I'm happy. And we've decided, he and I have decided that that's all that matters. Like, if we're happy with our situation, that's cool. That's all it doesn't matter if it's weird. It's okay. So, let me tell you what I learned in therapy. I've been in therapy off and on since I was a kid, honestly. I first started therapy when I was in the 6th grade. It wasn't my idea. I went from a little bitty church school where when we graduated 5th grade, there were 10 of us in the entire 5th grade. Little tiny church school. I went from that to a much larger middle school, and it was a huge adjustment for me. I mean, it was huge, and I don't think anybody really appreciated how big of an adjustment that was going to be for me. And I really struggled that year. You know, my grades dropped. I was having a hard time, and the guidance counselor at the school recommended that I go see a therapist to talk about, you know, my feelings on the change and everything. I didn't like that therapist. She was kind of shitty. I don't know why I ended up going to this particular person, but this woman, okay, so in therapy, this woman would not end the session. She would not end our session together until I cried. She would literally say, now, I need to see some signs that we're growing and healing together. I've seen no tears. So can we grow and heal together? And she would not let me go until I cried. And to this day, when I go see a therapist, I'm sitting here thinking about going to a therapist, and it chokes me up. I had to see this woman off and on for over a year, and every time I was not allowed to leave her office until I cried. And come on now, I can't let you go until I know that I've really reached you today. And once I started crying, she would say, there we go. All right, that's a good girl. That's a good, oh, I'm going to go get your mom now. I'm going to let her know that we're wrapping things up. Good, here's a tissue. Yes, hold the box. Good girl. She talked to me like a dog. Who's a good girl? Who's a good girl? She's crying. It's a good girl. That's messed up. That's messed up. I was a 6th grader. I didn't realize how weird that was. But we had to talk about my feelings, and it didn't help. I remember thinking, this isn't doing anything. It didn't help me at all. I remember this one time I was in there with her, and she was sitting, she had the sofa, and there were these blinds behind her, like these, blinds, little Venetian blinds or whatever they are. One of the slats was flipped the wrong way. Just one was flipped the wrong way, and it was right behind her head. I notice things like that. It bugs the hell out of me. That's not all that uncommon. People talk about, I have this weird thing where if something's wrong, it bothers me. I'm so weird. It's not weird. It's totally super duper normal. That is ultra common. So I noticed it, and I did my cry, and she gets up and she goes to get my mom. And when she got up and moved away from the couch, I got up and I just went over and fixed that blind, and she saw me do that. She went right back over and picked up her notebook, and she wrote something down. And to this day, I wonder, what did you write down? Because I wondered at the time, but I didn't have the guts to ask her, excuse me, what did you just write down? I fixed that blind. You wrote something down about that, didn't you? You hussy. But, I was a very shy kid. Like, I would never confront, certainly an adult. I was scared to death of adults. You know, she wrote something down, and to this day I wonder, what did you write down about that? What did you write down? But I guess I'll never know. But I've been in therapy off and on for a long time, and it's important to find a good therapist. But the problem is, you may not know you have found a good therapist. I found a fantastic therapist. This woman needs to be on TV. She is awesome. She's very blunt, very direct. She will not pull punches with you. She will not beat around the bush. She will tell you exactly what she thinks. And it may be uncomfortable. Working with her, I started to see a pattern in my life. Because I told her, I said, why do I keep ending? You know, I've had 3 marriages fall apart. And I ended all 3 of those marriages. They didn't leave me. I remember this one time, after I kicked out the Wicked Witch of the West, I was pregnant with my younger son when he went away, when I had him kicked out of the house. I'm not an asshole. There was a reason, but we're not going to go into it. I decided it was better to raise a 3-year-old and be pregnant on my own than to be with him, and I'm just going to leave it at that. That was preferable to having him there. And I've never regretted that. It was the best thing I ever did, was to kick him out. And he will never come back. Ooh, I smell a skunk. How appropriate. I think about him and I smell a skunk. Damn. Right after I had him kicked out, I had this neighbor, this lady that lived up the road. And the Wicked Witch of the West was one of these people. He was a different person around other people. Very funny, very nice. Everybody loves him to death, but you get along with him, and if you're a significant other, he's very different when you're alone. He's not the same person, and people don't believe you. You try to tell him how he is. I just can't see him being like that. Anyway, one of our neighbors comes walking down the road, and I was out there raking leaves. This was at a house I used to own, and she goes, "Where's your husband?" I said, "He no longer lives here." She goes, "Oh, I hope he comes back." She just assumed that he left me. I said, "He ain't coming back if I got anything to say about it." And she's like, "Oh." And she just walked on. She didn't say another word, like, "Whoop." She never asked about him again. "I hope he comes back." He better not. You'll be greeted with a 12 gauge if he does. "I hope he comes back." Thank you for assuming he left me, hussy. Anyway. So I told my therapist, I said, "Look, I got a habit of just picking toxic people." Glenda the Good Witch was different. He was different. I'm telling you, he's very different. He's not like that. But I have a history of and I was engaged when I was 16 to a bum, okay? He was just not like a literal bum, like, he was just a loser. But I love him. You couldn't have told me that at 16. I love him. Fortunately, I got smart. I had to choose between college and him, and I chose college, thank God. Anyway, and I broke up with him. Very glad I did. I told her, I said, I have a history of picking toxic men over and over. Even though at first they may not seem that way, they all turn out to be just malignant narcissists. I mean, just like horrible people. How does this happen? And we got to talking about my childhood, and she said, well, I want to talk about your parents and the way you grew up. And we spent a lot of time talking about the relationship that my mom and dad had with each other and what I grew up seeing, what I grew up with. If you find that you pick partners that are not good for you, you might want to take a look at your childhood. What was your relationship with your parents, or the people that were significant to you? What kind of relationship did they have? Was it healthy? Would you consider it to be healthy or no? And I would say that my parents' relationship was anything but healthy. It was very dysfunctional. I don't know. They stayed together for my brother and me. And my mom has Alzheimer's and told me not, it was maybe a couple of years ago. She said, the only reason I stayed with him so long was because of you. If you weren't there, I could have left him a lot sooner. Sorry I existed. I don't know what you want me to say to that. She was mad at me. She said, you're the only reason I had to stay so long. If you weren't there, I could have left. Don't pin this on me. I didn't ask you to do that. Anyway, my parents were miserable together. So to me, marriage looked awful. That was the only model I really had of a married couple, what married life should be like. That's all I knew. That's all I knew. And my parents were miserable, and they made my brother and me miserable. Staying together for the sake of the kids is not a good idea. And I took that lesson to heart when I had my kids and realized, and I thought, I'm not going to raise my children in a toxic environment. I'm not going to do it. I don't want them to have to grow up the way I grew up, having to walk on eggshells so I don't set anybody off and they explode in a rage. And that was another thing. My dad sometimes would have outbursts and just get really, really mad. And the first thing my mom would say to me, like if he just screamed at me, the first thing my mom would say to me was, what did you do to set him off? What did you say to him? What did you do to him? And I internalized that without realizing it. And whatever your normal is as a child, you will probably go on to look for that as an adult, whether you realize it or not. You go on to try to find what is normal to you. And normal to me was not healthy. It was very dysfunctional. That to me felt normal. And I went on to date and marry men that brought dysfunction into my life and made me miserable. So you really have to take a good hard look at your childhood. What kind of exposure did you get? What did relationships look like in your life? Mine were not healthy, not at all. I wish my parents had, I wish my parents had divorced about 10 years earlier. But you don't ever know. I mean, you don't know that things would have turned out better if I wish this had happened. Well, you don't know that ultimately would have been better. It might not have been for some reason you don't even know about. So there's no point in going back and ruminating on the past and thinking, I wish this had been this way. I wish this had been that way. There's no point because, first of all, you can't change the past anyway. And even if things had gone the way you think they should have gone, it doesn't mean that you would have been happier. You might have been worse off for some reason. There's no point in trying to live in the past. So I try not to do that. I'm very glad that Glenda the Good Witch and I met. Very glad. And I'm very glad that I didn't dismiss him as boring or whatever, because that's another thing. If you grew up in chaos, a healthy, normal person may seem boring to you. And I've heard people say that. I have a friend that kind of had a similar childhood to mine. Very chaotic, very toxic, just bad, with her parents. God, and she had a lot of physical violence in her home too. I didn't have that. She did. She witnessed a lot of physical abuse in her home growing up. And so she finds that when she just dates a regular guy, he's boring to her. There's no excitement. There's no drama. Drama sucks. I've had enough drama. I don't want any more drama. God, I'm sick of drama. But take a look at your parents. Take a look at the people in your life that represented love and marriage to you as a child. I always said when I was little, I'm never getting married. I'm never having kids. Because to me, it seemed like getting married and having kids was just the most miserable thing you could do. Because my mom always seemed miserable. I think she was miserable. I never saw her really ever happy. She just seemed really depressed, really miserable. I mean, just, everything was a chore. Everything was a bother. Raising my brother and me was just like a pain in the butt to her. And even now, when she talks about raising me, my brother was always her favorite. But when she talks about raising me, she doesn't have much good to say about it. I was too loud. I was too extra for her. she just basically tolerated me for 17 years until I moved out. So to me, it looked like having children and getting married and having kids was a terrible thing, not something I was interested in. But I did it anyway, and I went on to, without realizing it, I basically tried to recreate my parents' marriage, it looks like. So look at that. And two, don't fall into the trap of thinking that the Cinderella story, of the Prince Charming is going to come to you one day and sweep you away, and your life will be perfect, and you'll never have any more problems. Don't fall into the trap of thinking that that's a real thing. That's one thing my miserable, cynical mother did for me when I was a kid. She would literally say that to me. Cinderella, the story of Cinderella is not true. That doesn't happen. Do not expect Prince Charming to show up here and rescue you. You're going to have to rescue yourself. You need to be self-sufficient. You need to learn to take care of yourself. Don't ever depend on anyone else, because people let you down. People will not do that for you. And in a way, she's kind of got a point. I do think it pays to be self-sufficient, because anything could happen. Even if you're with someone and they take care of everything for you, they could drop dead tomorrow. And what are you going to do? You're going to be helpless. You should be strong, and you should be able to take care of yourself. Independence is a good thing. But she did that for me, and it was actually very helpful. And I have a hard time letting anybody do anything for me now. It makes me uncomfortable. I'd rather they not do anything for me. Like, oh, there's a little tiny house up there on the hill. It's like this big. It's abandoned, but it was really cute. Sorry. Don't expect Prince Charming to show up, or Princess Charming, or whoever you're looking for to show up and rescue you and make your life wonderful. That is probably not going to happen. And, nobody has a perfect relationship. Nobody does. Even if it looks like they do, nobody does. I got this lip balm at Aldi yesterday. Oh, it's awesome. It was on the Isle of Shame. It smells so good. It's very nice. Anyway, nobody has a perfect relationship. Nobody. I don't care how perfect it looks. It's not perfect. Now, some people do have what I call a noodle salad life, and it's from the movie As Good as It Gets with Jack Nicholson and Greg Kinnear and Helen Hunt. And I love this. I love this little conversation that they have. Jack Nicholson is talking. They're in the car, and Helen Hunt's character said, everybody has a messed up life, or something like, we've all had rough, messed up lives. And Jack Nicholson's in the back seat. He goes, that's not true. There are people out there, and their whole lives have been nothing but good times and noodle salad. Just nobody in this car. And it's so perfect. Now, people with a noodle salad life, these people that just, I don't know, it's just like they just float along, and it seems like nothing bad ever really happens to them, and everything is sunshine and rainbows. They have the little noodle salad life. Or it seems that way. I'm pretty sure they don't. But some people seem to have a noodle salad life. Just nobody in this car. Don't be jealous of people. Don't be resentful of people like that. Be happy for them. And more than likely, they've dealt with some bad stuff. You just may not know about it. But no relationship is ever going to be like that. You're going to have bad times. You're going to have arguments. There may be times where you flip one another off when their back is turned. I think we've all done that. I've damn sure done it. Hoodies are great for that. When you're arguing or they're being a dick, you can stick your hands in the pockets and flip them off right in front of them while they're talking and they can't see it, because I'm passive aggressive and petty. No, your relationship. There's a Maxway over there. I see a Maxway. Shit, we got to stop at Maxway on the way back. Sorry. There was a shopping center. There's a Maxway over there. We used to have several in Greensboro, but I think they're all closed. I thought they were all shut. There's one right there. Ah, hell, we're going to Maxway later. I'm going to Maxway. Y'all may not come, but I'm going. You will have times in your relationship that things suck. You may have a whole year where things suck. It's never going to be perfect. Your relationship should not be the only thing in your life that makes you happy, because it won't. There will be times that your relationship does not make you happy. You cannot look to another person to complete you. I don't give a shit what Jerry Maguire said. A relationship is not going to complete you. It can complement the rest of the stuff in your life and be a good thing, but it shouldn't be the only thing in your life. You cannot expect another person to be everything for you. It's not fair, and it's not reasonable. It's not going to happen. You know, they can't do that for you. Sometimes things are not fun. And how, you know, you may wonder, how do I meet people? And I tell you, I couldn't help you with that. I don't know. I learned when Glenda the Good Witch and I split up, and I dated a little bit. I dated a few guys, and I was very disappointed and just, there's just not much out there, man. And we're all bitter and jaded and have baggage, you know, God. And I know I have it. I'm not saying I don't. I totally do. I get it. Some people, like Glenda the Good Witch's parents, are a good example. They met in their early 20s, fell in love, got married, and basically, for the most part, lived happily ever after for over 50 years until his dad died suddenly here recently. They had what I would call a noodle salad life. I'm not saying it was perfect, but overall, they seemed like a very happy couple. I never saw anything to make me think they weren't. They were very loving and affectionate and happy, and they just loved being with each other, you know. And I look at that like, man, that's what everybody wants, that right there. I don't think most people ever find that. If I'm being honest, I don't think most people ever find that. Or if you do, it doesn't last. You know, you may have that for a time, but then it falls apart. They had it for over 50 years, and I think that is awesome. It's possible. I have seen it, not just with his parents. I've seen other people in loving, happy, long-term relationships. It's awesome. So it is possible, but I don't know that for most people it ever happens. But until you work on yourself, it's definitely not going to happen. If you have your own stuff to deal with, your own issues, it may not happen even if you do meet that perfect person. You may end up ruining it without realizing it. And the same goes for them. It may be the perfect person for you, but if they've got their own crap to deal with, they may ruin it without realizing it. You got a lot working against you, unfortunately. Yeah. This ramble didn't quite go the way I thought it would. But love is hard, and life is messy. Oh, look at all that wood. Good Lord. Bunch of 4x6s. Gosh. That's a lot of money on the back of that truck. Okay. I feel the need to yawn. All of a sudden. So I'm happy with what I have. What I have is kind of unconventional, I guess. But it makes me happy. I think until you learn to be happy with yourself, though, another person's not going to make you happy. I would, if Glenda the Good Witch and I were not together, I would be fine being by myself, just being single on my own. I would be all right with that. Yeah, I've done it before, and I'm perfectly happy being with myself. I can have a party all by myself. I can sit here and just talk to myself, and I'm good. I don't need to be with somebody to be happy. It's nice. I like being with somebody that makes me happy, and we can do things together, and we enjoy a lot of stuff, and we laugh together, and it's nice. It's very nice. Speaking of which, I have one particular thing I get him every year for Christmas. I haven't haven't gotten it yet. I need to go get it. Shit, I almost forgot. There's this specific type of beer that he likes, and I can never remember the name of it. I have to go to Potent Potables in Jamestown to get it. It comes in a bottle. It looks like a wine bottle, but it's beer. And it's like $20, but he loves it. And I get him a bottle of that every year for Christmas. He can always count on me to do that. I have not gotten that yet this year. I got to go get that. I almost forgot. I got to get it. Will you ever find the love of your life? I don't know. I hope you do. I really hope that you do. I hope we all do. I think the world would be a much friendlier, warmer place if everyone felt loved. And I think a lot of the evil and the anger in the world comes from a lack of love in the lives of people. I'm not trying to get all hippie trippy or anything, but yeah. I wish we could all find that one person. And I don't think there's just one person out there for everybody. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in fate and destiny and things happen the way they're supposed to. I don't believe in that. No. And my argument against that is, well, if things are supposed to happen a certain way, then there's no point in doing anything because things are going to work out the way they're supposed to anyway. So why bother doing anything? Because it's going to work out anyway, regardless, no matter what I do. I believe, other than physical limitations or major catastrophes beyond your control, we all are where we are as a result of the decisions that we have made up to this point. I'm not a big believer in fate or destiny or anything like that. You write your own future. You write your own biography. It is your autobiography. You are going to make your life what it is. Again, barring catastrophes and things out of your control. The decisions you make determine, for the most part, where your life is going to go. If I had married that loser at 16 and dropped out of college, I would not be where I am today. I don't know where I would be. There is no telling. I would have taken a very, very different path. And I'm glad I didn't marry him. I'm very glad, because I loved him more than I've ever loved anybody, and it broke something in me to leave him. But if I had married him, he would have destroyed my life. I know that. He would have destroyed my life. And I would have allowed him to do it because I loved him that much. I would have let him ruin my life. I'm so glad I dodged a bullet. I'm so glad I did not stay with him. I'm so glad I stayed in school and left him behind. I'm very glad. It's the best thing I ever did. I hope you find somebody that makes you happy. How do you meet people? That's another question I get. How do I meet people? I think it's harder now, especially with, since the pandemic. It's harder to meet people. People are so isolated and stuff. One thing I've seen that I think would be a good possibility, I know there are groups, it's not just on Facebook, but you can join these groups for specific interests. If there are things that you like, any hobby or interest that you have, if you want to get together and discuss topics and stuff, there are groups where you can do that. You might be able to meet people kind of like you have similar interests and things. You might be able to meet some people that way. You might meet online at first and just talk online, but then maybe you can meet in person. That might be a good way to meet some people. My personal opinion, I would avoid places like bars. I'm not saying you can't meet good people in bars. You can. You absolutely can. But I don't know. I would just... That's just me. I don't know. I would not go to bars trying to meet people. You might meet a great person in a bar. And online is just cancer at this point. Dating online, oh God, it's awful. I'm glad I don't deal with it. But I remember my limited exposure to just Match.com when I was, divorced. Oh God. Oh, it's awful. It is a wasteland of just, ugh. No, thank you. Yeah, no, thank you. God, we're coming up on an hour. my experience. I kept meeting these losers, like these just men that were my age, but they didn't have a pot to piss in. And I wasn't looking for a man to keep me up. Like, I'm not looking for a sugar daddy. I can take care of myself, but I am not interested in taking care of somebody else. I'm not looking to meet a guy that has no retirement plan, no nothing. Like, oh, I'm gonna have to keep you up. If this relationship works out and we end up together long term, I don't want to have to keep you up. You know, I'm getting to that age where you have to think about that. You know, I'm pushing 50 here. And a lot of men who are my age who have not really prepared or anything, or like, yeah, I need to find me a sugar mama. And they'll say that. I had one literally say it on the date, I'm looking for a sugar mama. And I don't think he was joking. Like, yeah, check please, I gotta go. No, I am not interested in keeping you up. I did not go out with him again. Like, no, that was the wrong thing to say to me. I am not supporting you. But I'm not looking for you to support me either. So, I don't know. It's just a wasteland out there. But there are good people out there to meet. There are. Again, I would recommend just starting with, you know, online groups, maybe local groups that have the interests that you have. If you like to run, there are all kinds. I know around here, there are tons of running clubs, people that meet up, you know, like on Sunday mornings and go run together, and they pick different parts of town to go run. Oh yeah, that's really popular around Greensboro. And like me, I joined this boot camp, and we meet all over Greensboro. We meet in different places all the time because we have members all over town, and it's not convenient for everybody to meet, you know, because Greensboro is a pretty big area. It's pretty spread out. So we have several different people that kind of are the instructors. You know, it's kind of informal, but we have different instructors and we meet in different places, and it's awesome. And I've met a lot of really cool people like that. Now, I'm not looking to meet anybody to date. It's mostly women anyway. And I've met some really interesting people doing the boot camp thing over the last year and a half. So even if you're not looking for a significant other, like you just want to meet new people, it's a great way to do it. Join some of these online groups. And I think especially during the pandemic, they really blossomed. I think a lot of people did that over the pandemic just to, you know, meet new people and have some social interaction occasionally. Yeah, damn, there's another dead skunk. I don't smell it yet, but it's coming. It's just right back there. Ah, there it is. Skunks abound. Apparently they're all suicidal. They're running out in the road. You know why the chicken crossed the road, don't you? It's to show the possum it can be done. Yep. Don't give up. Don't lose hope. If you're still looking for that special someone, work on yourself. Seriously, work on your own stuff. It's not comfortable. It's not fun. But work on yourself. Don't rush anything. If you meet the perfect person, don't feel like you got to rush it. Take your time. Get to know them. Let them get to know you. See where it goes. Don't try to rush anything. It's not a Lifetime movie where in an hour and 30 minutes the snow is going to fall and fireworks will go off and you will kiss and then you live happily ever after. It's not going to be like that. Don't try to rush it. Don't try to make it something it's not. Think about it. Other than that, I don't really have a lot of... That's the most important thing, though. Take a look at your past, your parents' relationship, if you have a pattern of bad relationships, really look at those relationships and think about what maybe there are some common themes that run through there. Think about that. Work on yourself and learn to be happy being on your own. Don't look to another person to make you happy. I'm starting to sound like a slogan on a t-shirt. That's really all I have to say about it. I'm happy today, and I hope you are. I don't know how close I am to this place, but hopefully it won't be too much farther now, because I've been talking for quite a while. Anyway, this video is really long, and I don't know how it's going to upload, but we'll find out. Thank you so much for being here. I love y'all. I think you are awesome people. If nobody has told you that today, I think you are a great person, and I'm really glad that you were on this planet with me. I think you're really cool. I'm starting to see mountains. There are mountains in the distance. That's really cool. That's one great thing about North Carolina. You have mountains, flatland, the Piedmont where I live, the foothills, and then you got the beach. It's really great here. But anyway, thank you so much for being here, and I will talk to you again really soon.